Harrison Price for Thursday, August 14th, 2025, coming to you from the Nation Network studio, built by Arbor Lee here at the Historic Wall Center. In the show, a presentation of Bet365. Matt Harrison alongside Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner Mike Rogerson, hitting switches and conducting things on a gigantic sports day in the history of the city of Vancouver.
Yeah.
As a serial winner of some of the biggest trophies you can win in all of global sport, Thomas Müller is unveiled by Vancouver Whitecaps FC to his new community. Blake hosted the press conference earlier this morning. He'll fill us in on all the details there, and we will spend a lot of time speaking about an athlete who I'm not sure there's a comparable in our city's sporting history. It brings us to the Bogey Juice poll question. Is Thomas Müller the biggest name in Vancouver sports history? You can vote yes, you can vote no. Do so at the Harrison Price X and YouTube channels. And like objectively speaking, I recognize that, fans may have personal preferences, but objectively speaking, I'm not sure you can vote no here. We're talking about a guy who has won a World Cup. We're talking about a guy who's won the UEFA Champions League a couple of times.
Yeah.
We're talking about someone who you could go to like the most remote islands of Indonesia and they would know who he is because of the primacy of soccer around this world of ours and because of how big a name he was on two of the biggest teams on this planet, the German national team, the German men's national team, and of course Bayern Munich.
Yeah, ice hockey, we love it. We do, but it is a regional sport on the planet.
Yeah,
it just is. And we saw Lionel Messi come to town when he eventually did play at BC Place Stadium. We saw the kind of impact that kind of a brand has on even our relatively green soccer community. I said relatively.
Yeah.
Now he is not Lionel Messi on the pitch. I think everybody knows that. But here's the thing. While he may not, I'm not suggesting he'll sell more jerseys than Messi. I'm not suggesting that either.
No, I don't think so.
But the impact of Messi in Miami versus the impact of Müller in Vancouver is an interesting comparison. It's a smaller town. He doesn't need to be Lionel Messi. There's a lot less distractions than what you have in South Beach. So I think there is the potential for a Messi-like impact for Thomas Müller here in Vancouver. He is a global superstar. He will sell jerseys outside of Vancouver. Like, try to wrap your heads around that.
He's going to bring people to BC Place from abroad to watch Whitecaps matches.
That's it. Yeah.
And by abroad, I don't mean the island or the interior. I mean,
not Bowen.
Europe. I mean, all parts of the United States. Yeah. I mean, Mexico.
For a lot of people, seeing a global superstar got a lot closer for them.
Yeah.
And it's also just new. It's also just let's face it, he is going to a league that is a below Bundesliga, below Champions League. I don't think that's insulting Major League Soccer to say so. There is a chance, we haven't seen it, I'm not going to promise anything that's not there yet, but there is a chance that he gives a little bit of a jolt to his career by doing so. He was already totally fine these last couple of years playing in Bundesliga. Playing at this level, is he back to being, a superstar? We'll see, but there is the possibility.
Yeah, and Blake and I have been doing this show 14 years, and so we have, on occasion, asked questions about the, biggest names, best athletes in this city or in this province. And typically when we do so, two names come to the fore because they had such massive community impact. And of course, speaking of Terry Fox and the Marathon of Hope and Rick Hansen and the Man in Motion Tour. Rick was a competitive athlete at the Paralympics, but those are sort of separate categories. These are two athletes, two people who put this city on the map for different reasons. When you talk about the great athletes who have come from this city or come from this province, and your head turns to people like Steve Nash, a two-time NBA MVP, or some of the great hockey stars who have played here or who are from here, or even going back into Whitecaps history in the NASL days where guys like Alan Ball and Ruud Krol and then Peter Beardsley, who launched his career here, were massive, massive names. But I don't think you can overstate just how popular, just how well known Thomas Müller is. Like Rob Williams, and Mike, if we can bring the Rob Williams tweet up that we were going to get to later in the show, looked at it, and he's got more Instagram followers than every Canucks player combined. He's followed by 14.8 million people around this globe on Instagram. Like in a lot of ways, and we used to say this. We said this when David Beckham came to play here, that this was different than any other athlete who was coming to play in Vancouver, that David Beckham's peers weren't the biggest names in the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, or whatnot. Like David Beckham's peers were more along the lines of,
Oprah,
the Pope, the President, the Queen, like that sort of level of, you flash their picture on the screen and everybody instantly knows who they are. So
they're industries in and of themselves, and he's not quite there, but he is darn close. Darn close, and it's going to have an impact on the sporting landscape.
Yep. All of a sudden, there is going to be way more eyeballs on Vancouver Whitecaps soccer than there ever has been, and that is it's still sort of surreal to me, Blake. This came together. Like, a couple of days ago, Blake sends me a text and goes, I'm hosting the Thomas Müller unveiling. I thought to myself, you're going to be on a stage with this guy who, like, every soccer fan the world over knows instantly.
All due respect to this show, to SportsCenter and Sports Page, all my ancestral roots, I don't think I've ever had more eyeballs on me than probably that streaming press conference today.
Well, we're going to get to the top story in a second. You're going to give us more details. First, our friends at Bogey Juice, and my goodness, did I have a Bogey Juice moment last night.
Oh, what does that even mean?
Well, I just playing golf with a couple of buddies of ours who have a regular game at Fraser View. Mm-hmm. And I walk off the 17th green, and I think to myself, gosh, you've played pretty well today. So I look at the scorecard. I always want to see the score on the 18th tee for strategic reasons. I know, it drives Jeff nuts too, but I love doing it. So I look at the scorecard. It says 80. And I go, And then I counted up. I'm like, man, you've hit 10 of 13 fairways today. That's pretty darn good. Mm-hmm. And as we're going to the 18th tee, I think to myself, it's par 5. This is a tee shot that suits your ball flight in your eye. You've got a really good handle on how far to hit it for the layup, perfect distance. And I think to myself, you deserve 85 or 84 today. Let's birdie or par this hole. You deserve that the way you've played today. Snap hook into the woods. Tree trouble on the drop. So now I'm laying up and shooting 5 over the gulch to the green, and we dunk 2 into the gulch for an even 10 on the 18th. We make 90, not 84, not 85. That is a Bogey Juice moment when you get home, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly. In fact, people were talking to me on the course, like, I hear this Bogey Juice on your show. Like, when are you supposed to drink that? And I said, well, people make more bogeys than birdies. So.
Matt, I don't want to jinx you here, but you have done that now, I think twice on the season, where you've had decent rounds going.
Yeah, no, I am a routine choker on the 18th hole. The pressure gets to me. It is a sport. It's a micro precision sport, as you know, Blake. And I am a choke artist. Pains me to say, but it has happened too often. Used to happen on the 18th at Northlands all the time. It happened. That's why I'm looking forward to the 18th at the Redwoods, because there is not a big gulch sitting
no
there
tin cup
waiting.
possibilities.
Exactly.
I see.
So anyways, go on out and get some bogey juice.
Bogeyjuice.com.
Yeah, you're going to have a round like that. Our top story brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood, and of course, Foolish Winery. Müller time. Vancouver Whitecaps FC officially unveiled the German superstar Thursday morning after an evening of revelry the moment he stepped off the plane. But we'll start with this morning. Blake was there emceeing, as we all know. Well, just tell us about it. What did it look like from your vantage point on the stage?
I mean, full credit to Whitecaps FC. Now, they knew it was coming. They had a better idea of its certainty long before we did. So I would guess that this was weeks in planning, because it looked like it was. Like it was a great venue there at the Telus Garden on Georgia. And German spread, like a huge buffet of German foods, and a crowded atmosphere. Like I would like an NFL training camp sort of opening, like
the Dallas Cowboys,
yes.
The Jerry Jones opening press conference where I read yesterday they were expecting something like 60 cameras.
I mean, I wasn't counting cameras, but it was, I don't know, it was
wall to wall,
30 feet of cameras basically at the back.
And like, this is something that drew the German media. I mean, that's a long, long way to come. But you were telling me the place was inundated with German.
We did 20 minutes of English questions and then 20 minutes of German questions.
And
after
all
that,
big German news agencies were there.
Yeah. It was really impressive. I've got to brush up on my German, apparently, because apparently his answers in German were even more. He was great in English. His English is spectacular. It's flawless English.
Well, and that's the other thing we should mention here. The guy's not only known for his fantastic soccer playing, he's known as a big personality. Like, he's known as a bit of a card, a jokester.
He had a lot of fun with the media. Like, it was 10 out of 10. Like, if this ends up being good on the pitch too, mind blown for the Whitecaps, because he sold tickets today and he did not kick a ball. He was not near a soccer ball today.
Oh, he's been selling tickets for a couple of weeks now.
He even called it soccer, made a joke about that. You know, like it was.
Let's bring that up. We have that visual as well. I'm here to play soccer. I used to play football, but now I play soccer. Spot on, Thomas. You got a chance to ask him the first three questions in English. What did you ask him, and what did he say?
Well, I asked a question of each of the primaries on stage, but just asked him about what he expects and his excitement of getting onto the pitch, and he gave the right answer there. He talked about, hey, this is great, and he doesn't mind doing all this, the pomp and circumstance, but he said it with legitimate sincerity. I thought he's super excited to play here. Like he's really champing at the bit to. He says he's been texting with some players and he can't wait to get out there. And I warned him about their forecast that he's getting a Vancouver welcome tomorrow, and he said he had understood that already. He'd been told, but he's going to be able to. He's like, hey, he gave us the usual plaudits about the city, about how beautiful it is. He's like, trust me, folks, I know it's a beautiful city, and I've met all of you in the last 24 hours. You seem like great people, but I'm here to play soccer. I'm here to win and play soccer, and I can't wait to do that. So,
and I know you don't speak German, but like, was this a sad day for Germany that one of their sporting heroes was over here, or was it just the natural evolution? We knew it was going to come to an end at some point, and we're happy for him that he has found a new home.
I didn't get it so much from today's what I've seen on social media, though. There is a sense of what happened here. Why didn't he finish his career in Bayern? Like that. That sentiment is out there, and I did have somebody reach out to me today saying he's going to spill the beans at some point. Like there might be an additional story here about Bayern relationships with him at the end, as to why he he or they didn't want to
Well,
proceed.
and to be clear, they made the decision. The club made the decision. It was not his.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe there's another story there that he'll tell. But I mean, for the most part, he said this too. My buddy feels good. My buddy feels real good. Too good to retire.
Well,
so he wants to keep going.
So good. He, of course, was asked about the turf at BC Place. We've heard it's been an issue for players of this caliber in the past. Quote, I have no problems with it. He went on to joke that he has the knees of a 15-year-old, and he said the turf makes for easier passing. And we have heard this in the past, that, you know, it is a different ball flight, bounce, and all of that coming off the turf, and that, you know, players who acclimatize to it can have an advantage. And so we'll see how he does there.
Brian Gauld, Brian White have zero problem with it. I mean, Ryan Gauld might beg to differ after his knee injury, but I think that was a freak more than anything else. But in terms of their performance on the pitch, I mean, Ryan Gauld and Brian White excel on it. So I think it should be all right.
So he arrived yesterday at YVR, and he was welcomed by Musqueam Chief Wayne Sparrow, and then the fans took over. And boy, did they take over. A big greeting party there. Müller took the time to sign autographs and pose for selfies with different fans. I mean, look at this, Blake.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a scene that you often see in Vancouver. Like, has any hockey player been greeted like that? So it's, honestly, I saw some of the images last night, and I just thought to myself, holy cow, this may be even bigger than I imagined in my mind's eye. Then he joined the watch party at Whitespot. Speaking of BC, Whitespot, huh?
Whitecaps played last night, in case you forgot.
Exactly.
A Canadian Championship
the
semi.
Caps Canadian Championship semifinal match in Hamilton against Forge FC. He turns up there to the delight of the fans. They wind up drawing Forge 2-2.
And neither here nor there what happened there, because that's the home half or the road half of the two-legged series. But fans were all there to watch. They get surprised here, and he goes through the rigmarole again. And I tell you that he did not look weary today, and I would have forgiven him if he did.
Yep.
Because of not only just the flight, we're all road weary after the 10-hour flight, but then to do what he did at the airport, to do what he did here. Try to sleep last night and then do what he did today.
Yeah.
Like, I hope he sleeps like a baby tonight. But he put his best foot forward. Now, I don't think he wants to do this every week here.
No, but Blake, this is important, and this is why we wanted to show all, and this is why we're speaking about the scene last night and this morning in the way that we are, is that this is not the first international soccer superstar to arrive in MLS.
No.
Not
the first German one.
No. I mean, there have been countless here, even over the history of the Whitecaps in MLS over the last decade and a half. But many of the guys who came on over, who were huge names in the same galaxy as Müller, guys like Thierry Henry, guys like Wayne Rooney, Jermaine Defoe, the bloody big deal once upon a time in Toronto, right? They were not necessarily diving into the deep end and willing to do all of this superfluous stuff off the pitch in the name of promoting and marketing the club and the league. And this guy, like, I can only imagine the breadth of the smile on MLS Commissioner Don Garber today in his New York City offices as he was taking in this scene. They not only had a global brand, a global superstar in this sport come on over to the league, but the guy is bringing his A game in terms of being a marketing tool, an ambassador, and everything that you hope these great athletes are. And as we've talked about forever on this show, don't confuse on-pitch or on-ice greatness with off-ice or off-pitch greatness. In fact, oftentimes it is very difficult to marry the two. And this guy just seems to do it with an ease, like an effortlessness in terms of interacting with the greater public at large.
And I'll say this, part of what you're seeing here, too, is a jubilance, and you might be seeing it around MLS. It'll be interesting to try to get a lowdown on this. He chose a smaller market. If you look at the big names that you just rattled off, Matt, where did they go? New York, Miami, L.A., like Bastian Schweinsteiger, Chicago. You mentioned Toronto. Montreal's even had its kick. You know, they got Didier Drogba.
That's right.
went to Montreal. But you know, have they chosen Columbus? Have they chosen Portland or even Seattle? All those teams have had great players play for them that have
and great team success.
Great team success, but they haven't had the legends choose them. I might be missing one, and it's quite possible. I sincerely might be missing one. But
Beckham was extraordinary as well. Like, and
LA,
especially,
but LA,
yeah, LA. But if you watch the Beckham documentary from a couple of years back on Netflix, David Beckham
he
was
played ball. Yeah.
Supremely aware of his brand. He was supremely aware of his role in the soccer project in North America, because let's face it, this is the last frontier for soccer. This is the last place on earth where soccer isn't quite the commercial entity that it is elsewhere. So Beckham fully understood his role and played it to a T. And, you know, I got shades of that as I was watching Müller last night and this morning.
Absolutely.
Like, this is a guy who understands the job at hand. You brought up his play on the pitch, and that's sort of the last thing that I want to get into here in terms of, because right now it's a massive success story. Gosh, I hope he still has enough left in the tank, first and foremost, and particularly given the North American and MLS travel requirements, because that is a huge transition for some of these European soccer stars. They are accustomed to puddle jumper flights, if that, oftentimes even just bus trips to get to road games, let alone, I mean, the Caps are going to Orlando in a few weeks. That is not a short flight.
The good news is, though, he's played for Bayern, one of the giants that they get asked to play globally.
Sure.
You know, if he's coming from even like Everton, like Everton doesn't trot around the globe to the same degree. So I hear it's more than the usual.
Yeah. So I hope he has something left, and I hope that he can sustain the energy through some of the.
It's also a home-heavy schedule. You mentioned Orlando, and
Fair enough.
It is, but they've got what? It's actually 2 bad trips, but they've only got 3 road games left. It's KC, which is tough to get to, Orlando, and Seattle.
The other thing is, this is a guy, because of the extended run at Bayern. Like, we're not even talking about a guy who has played for sort of smaller, middle-sized clubs in Europe. We're talking about a guy who's played for one of the biggest clubs in the world for an awfully long time. Vanni Sartini used to say this to us, Blake. He goes, the key in this league is that your designated players, and I know Müller doesn't count right now as a designated player, but he will next year, and he effectively is. Your designated players have to understand that the other 10 guys on the pitch, or the other 9 guys on the pitch, if there's a second DP out there, aren't at their level, and they have to understand how to bring those guys up. And they can't let the frustration set in because the striker didn't behave as the striker at Bayern might have, or the center back didn't behave like the center back at Bayern. They can't get frustrated by, let's face it, the drop off in talent and aptitude that is in their midst. Their job is to understand the limitations of the guys around them and to build them up and to play in a way that gets the best out of them. And that's where this guy, who is known as the interpreter of space in Germany, that's where I think this guy probably has a leg up on some of those other guys, like particularly the strikers, like Rooney and Thierry Henry. Like, they need service, right? So they're looking around going, how come the midfielder from North Carolina State can't deliver me a better ball? Well, because he's a young player who played NCAA soccer.
There were years
and playing at the highest levels.
There were nights. I think Ibrahimovic had 2 goals one night and it was the only 2 times he touched the ball. Which is still great for the player, the people that are there to see him score that. But I'm sure for him, probably wanted a bit more service than that even, it has, I think the fact that he looked and saw, okay, they've got a league goal scoring leader in Brian White, who's only not at the top of the league scoring race because he was away for 5 weeks with the national team, 6 weeks. And he anticipated, I'm sure, Ryan Gaul coming back, and he saw the scads of wingers that they have as well. Mm-hmm. That's he's like, okay, there's enough talent there that I can work with that.
And then on the flip side, it is going to be up to the rest of the Caps players who are on the pitch with him to not be too deferential, right? Like they can't get caught standing around watching Thomas Müller going, oh my God, I can't believe I'm on a pitch with Müller. What's he doing next?
Yeah.
So we'll see how the chemistry sets in. We are told, and Jeff Mallett's going to join the program later and let us know, Whitecaps co-owner, that Müller and Jesper Sorensen hit it off immediately on the topic of, the tactics, the X's and O's, the formations, all of that. So it sounds like he has a collaborator there, a like mind, if you will, in Jesper Sorensen. You hope the chemistry comes instantly. Probably is going to take a little bit of time. No one would be surprised if he's not at his best Sunday against Houston. But what this could look like heading into the MLS playoffs, Blake, is pretty exciting stuff for Whitecaps supporters.
And regarding Houston, I mean, logic tells you he's a substitution. We saw Sun come in for LAFC, played, 15, 20 minutes for LAFC in his debut, and he hadn't even trained with the team. He had no training pitch time with the team, and he still played a few minutes. I think that's the bare minimum, I would guess, 15 to 20 minutes, something like that for Müller on Sunday. But something tells me there is an off chance, and again, I'm going to be abundantly clear here because I don't want to get the Whitecaps in trouble. No one has told me this. But based on what you just talked about on this fabulous rapport they seem to have, this trust, the fact that we've seen Müller training prior to this with Bayern and on his own, something tells there's an off chance he could start and come out at halftime.
Yep.
Like I wouldn't put it past that.
Honestly, I'm just as amazing as the Whitecaps landing him is. I'm almost more amazed at how all in he is, how much he has bought in already.
Yeah,
and the last step is the pitch. Speaking of, it was a 2-2 draw in Hamilton last night against Forge. Tristan Blackman, Jaden Nelson, your goal scorers. They held a 2-1 lead, but couldn't finish the job. Utvik had some struggles at center back, and only reinforcing the need for a transfer player there. And then on the other side of the bracket, Vancouver FC beats Atletico Ottawa 3-1, their first home win in more than a year. So we could very well get that all-Vancouver matchup that we were tracking, that we thought we would see in the semifinals of the Canadian Championship before they went through a reseeding. So the second legs of those go next month. And we could very well have Vancouver Whitecaps FC against Vancouver FC for the Canadian Championship trophy this year.
Could be fun.
Caps expecting a sellout of the lower bowl for Sunday's match against Houston. They are not going to open the upper bowl for this game, but I would anticipate if things go well, we are not far away, perhaps even for next Saturday and the Caps' next home match. We could see the upper bowl open then. That's the St. Louis game on August 23rd. We'll see about that. And talking about how big he is, saw Hard Joe Hall of Daily Hive report. The Southsiders already have a song about him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the tune, so I'm not going to sing it. Hear it more on Sunday. He could have gone to Cincy. Instead, he chose Vancouver. Fuck Tim Ford. It's our year, because we've got Thomas Müller. Thomas Müller, la, 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 la. Thomas Müller, la, 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 la.
Is it Thomas Müller, la, 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 la? Is it that, you think? 4 la's. Maybe.
You sound it out however you want. You know I've always encouraged your singing on this program.
We've got to talk about Yellow Dog. Hey, talked about golf already today. New from Yellow Dog Spirits. They got a clubhouse classic of their own, just a major glow up Shazam for your post-round hangs and mid-round swings, or just pretending you're on the back nine. Packed with juicy grape, zesty lime, and a refreshing hit of ginger. It's a crisp, bubbly take on the golf course cocktail we all know and love. Go check it out. It's the Shazam Transfusion from Yellow Dog Spirits.
NHL Network is out with his rankings of top defensemen. Quinn Hughes comes in as number 2 after Cale Makar. And look, I don't think that's any surprise after Hughes missed some time last season, of course, played through some injury, not to mention the season that Cale Makar had and another Norris Trophy win. Here's what I will say. Is this year the rubber match between them? Because you had Makar winning the Norris last year. You had Quinn Hughes winning the Norris the previous year. And yes, I do know that Cale Makar has a second Norris Trophy from the 21-22 season. But the way I see it,
Hughes was too young then.
Exactly. Best 2 out of 3, right? This is the year.
Although
where we decide who's better, who's best.
I think that's fair, particularly because if Hughes were to win the Norris this year,
he's going to have to do a lot of scoring on this team, Blake.
But I'm saying his losing year this year in this best of 3 that you're talking about, he was the front runner for the Norris up until what, Jan 15? You know, like he like Makar wins it, but kind of by default because of the injury to Quinn Hughes.
I think he would have won it anyway because of the Canucks team performance, because I do think that registers with some voters.
Yeah, but if Quinn Hughes is there for the final third of the season, or do they get the 3 more wins they needed to get into the playoffs?
Fair enough.
In.
But 2 things here when we talk about this season going forward for Hughes. Given the state at center ice, as it stands right now, and another move could come, but as it stands right now, if you're Filipino, Teddy Bluger, Atu Ratu in the 2-3-4 holes, I think he is going to have to do even more offensively. He has talked about 20 goals in the past. I think he's probably got to be as aggressive as we have ever seen him shooting the puck, if that is going to be the way they line up center iceman.
The Bruce Boudreau comment of maybe he should be a forward, he might effectively be one this year.
Well, yeah. like he may have to be more a rover.
More rover.
So there's that. And then number 2, and we have seen this, I've seen it for 50 years in the NHL with Vancouver Canucks hockey, that when this franchise isn't winning, they are an afterthought nationally, that they have to be near the top of the Pacific Division or the Smythe Division back in the days and viewed as a contender to get the sort of attention, eyeballs, and interest in Vancouver Canucks hockey. So I think that will be important as well. Like if this is a middling to poor team, I'm not sure even his best individual season to date gets him the Norris. If this is a good to competitive team, like we saw a couple of years ago, then I think he's going to be right there and perhaps even undeniable if he has the sort of season that we're daydreaming on.
Even with JT Miller, I think he knew last year he needed to do a lot to get this team to where they needed to be.
Well, he talked about it in preseason.
Yeah.
Like he was really honest about his goals and how much scoring had to happen and how much he had to be a part of it.
So I think he's going to do a lot. The risk would be that he tries to do too much, of course. Pretty wise player, though. I think you got to give him the responsibility to moderate that himself.
I'm not even sure there is much of a risk there because number 1, how many better options do you have? And number 2, he's just a hockey savant.
No, it's just, do you let him go? You don't want him full Erik Karlsson, do you?
No.
So that would be what I mean.
But the thing with Quinn is he's got a conscience.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sure
I think he's wise enough.
A conscience.
He's wise enough to know that
when it comes to defensive responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't mean in life.
No.
I'm sure Eric's a very conscientious guy. But no, on the ice, Erik Karlsson plays a way that not many defensemen play, not many coaches abide.
Yeah.
We have not seen that from Quinn Hughes. Okay, sure, you can point to a play here, a play there where he's out of position, where he got caught up ice. You can do that with every defenseman, but you haven't seen that chronically like you've seen with Erik Karlsson, particularly that San Jose year where he just decided, I'm going to pile up points irrespective of what's happening in my own zone. Let's get to today's menu. It is brought to you by Greta, a fantastic spot to catch all the games home and away. Plus, it is just steps from the arena and the stadium. So pregame there, postgame there. And if you have a team building event, my better half is on a team building event.
Oh, really? We
in,
should do that, huh? That would be fun.
Yes. Yes, I'm looking forward to hearing the reviews on trust falls and axe throwing. But if you have a team building event, if you're looking for a space for a family reunion, summer sociable, maybe it's a team party, league party at the end of your baseball season or something like that, check out Greta. It's a fantastic venue. The menu is very accessible. There's something there for everybody, as there is with the arcade. And we've told you far and wide about how awesome the arcade is. It encircles the bar. You've got participatory games like Pop-A-Shot and air hockey. You got your video game classics. Check it all out to book your event, gretabar.com. Greta, 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin. Going to be joined here by Jeff Merrick coming up. Good discussion with Jeff on a number of topics, including the NHL pretty much goes dark in August. The NFL a number of years ago decided, you know what, we shouldn't go dark. We should have events or things in every single month of the calendar year to whet the appetite of our fans. So we talked to him about that. We talked to him about Elias Pettersson and the revenge comments. We talked to him about the Boston Bruins centerman, Pavel Zacha, Casey Mittelstadt, who are available via trade, not to mention Vitaly Kravtsov coming back from the KHL to join the Caps. So it's terrific stuff with Jeff Merrick, who also he puts the Easter egg game on us today. A little turnabout is fair play. And then Whitecaps FC co-owner Jeff Mallett, who, needless to say, was beaming with today's signing. If you don't know Jeff, he grew up in this community, became a very successful businessman in tech. He is a minority owner of the San Francisco Giants as well. So Jeff tells us everything about how this came to be with Thomas Müller. But of course, we had to ask him the ownership question, right? That he and majority partner Greg Kerfoot are selling this team and the proposed stadium site at the PNE. So we ask him specific questions on that. And to Jeff's credit, he gives specific answers about modeling and how this would all have to work, not to mention the different ways that ownership could go with a sale, whether that's a big boy who wants to come in and just blow out the existing ownership, whether that's a partner who wants to come in as the majority guy and keep Kerfoot and Jeff Mallett as minority guys.
Whatever you think an MLS franchise is actually worth right now, you don't necessarily need a guy to foot that entire bill as long as that person is willing to keep these guys on.
There are, for Whitecap supporters, and I know we'll have a lot of them today, how could, there's kind of a hook. These were as detailed answers as I have heard on the path forward for the Whitecaps and a new stadium, including a revelation about an email he got in 2008 about the original waterfront stadium that the Whitecaps were hoping to build.
So close.
Yeah. So it's terrific to have Jeff back on the program and to be as candid as he was about where things are going with the ownership of this club. That's all coming up on the program today, Blake. Time now for our Bet365 bets of the day. And
we both did really well yesterday.
I got a win yesterday, yeah.
I got a win too.
You got a win as well.
In both games, you went Jays, I went Mariners. Both games played out pretty much exactly as we thought they might.
Yeah,
pitching duels in both.
Yeah, although I got to say, Gossman was terrific against that Cubs lineup, and yet Horton, the young Cubs hurler, was better. So, okay, take the floor. Who you like? What you got?
Well, the BMW Championship is about to get underway. And
Delayed, right?
It's delayed because of severe weather situations going on. But I'm going to be extremely boring here. There are times, and the Tiger Woods era was one of them, where you just go with the favorite. And at plus 200, it's still positive money.
You're going to be boring.
I'm going to be boring.
Going to be boring. Okay.
Scotty Scheffler's winning this tournament. So you might as well
get on the train.
Get on the train and make some money. It's not bad. It's plus 200.
Yeah. I looked at the Lions Alouettes. It's BC -7. I know Montreal has the quarterback injury. I just felt that was a little rich. And yet that's not the line that jumped out the most to me. Hamilton in Saskatchewan on Saturday, and you have to think that the Tiger Cats are smarting from that narrow defeat at home at the hands of the Lions. They think themselves the best team in the CFL East. Well, big opportunity to prove that against the best team in the league and in the West in Regina against the Riders. I'm getting 3.5. I love that hook. You know, I love that 3.5, that hook. So give me Hamilton plus 3.5 in Regina on Saturday. This segment, a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game. Use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. We have Jeff Merrick and Jeff Mallett back to back. We have
Jeff M's.
Yeah, it's the Jeff Show. So, Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center. In this next segment, brought to you by the Redwoods Golf Course, where private and semi-private adult lessons are available and flexible to your schedule. Blake and I have already taken a lesson with the pro Craig out there, and boy, was it a revelation.
He just makes it so accessible, the information.
Complicated game made easy.
Yeah.
One of the drills we did, just some like athletic spray on one of your irons, hit a bunch of balls, see where the mark is, see where you're hitting the ball on the club face. As simple as that. And then I loved when we went to the putting green, he went, guys, there will be no reconstruction here. There are a million ways to get the ball in the hole. Unless you're doing something tragically wrong, I'm just going to give you some putting drills and let you putt as you have always putted. And so we did some practice putting drills. And yeah.
You know what I loved?
Ball went in the hole for Blake, believe it or not.
I loved it when he asked me to do a drill, and I did it, and he called me a natural athlete.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, there was that too. I didn't think that would get into the Redwoods.
I've told everybody I know.
I know, and
that.
continues to. As soon as he uttered it, I was like, oh, you don't know what you've done for time immemorial. Redwoods-golf.com/instruction. Yeah, getting out there next week for more work with the natural athlete. Here's the natural broadcaster, Jeff Merrick, of the Sheet on the Nation Network.
Can I ask a question to begin this segment? Matt, did you have to widen the door frames to fit Blake's head in the studio today? After that comment. Man. By the way, the best way to keep you buying privates is complimenting with things like that. Oh, you're a natural. Let me sign up for a dozen more.
That's true. Am I being used, Jeff?
You say that to all the athletes.
I think that's awesome. That's great. Hey, boys.
How you doing? Good to see you again. It's been a little while here.
You.
But and here's the thing, Jeff is flipping the script on us. He has an Easter egg for us, which we'll get to.
Okay. I was thinking last night, I'm like, I gotta do, I guess, like the middle of August. Let's do something a little bit different here. I know. And it's gonna be a question about general managers in the NHL and under the umbrella of one of the most interesting topics to discuss this off season. That's the only way I'm going to chum the waters for what's still to come a little bit later on here.
All right. Okay. I got my thinking cap on.
Okay.
Wheels are turning. But you mentioned August.
Yep.
You know, several years ago, the NFL went to a model where they're like, we need to have some sort of event in every month. We should be a 12-month league to keep up interest. Now, granted, they play a shorter season, right? Their athletes are on the field to a lesser degree. Is there anything the NHL could do to spice up, liven up August? Like, is it okay for a major sports league to basically go to sleep for a full month? What do you think?
So we don't rehearse anything on this collab that we do once a week. There's a couple of texts that are exchanged, but like one of my favorite things to talk about in the off season, and I really do think that it'd be a smart thing for the NHL to do. One, to your point about keeping the sport hot, or at least warm during the off season. You never want it to go entirely dormant. But two, I think it's really not just a good thing for the NHL to do this, but also an interesting thing for hockey fans and something that might even be able to generate revenue and something that might even be able to put a couple of bucks in minor pro hockey players' jeans. I think every summer the NHL should do an R&D camp league. And what you have to, it's essentially, everyone has a number of different ideas about how they want to change the game, the configuration of it, the number of players. We've talked about rule changes. Everybody has an idea for what they think might be able to work at the NHL level. And I always say to myself, you know, going back to, you know, the lockout of 04-05 and, you know, the Shanahan Summit, et cetera, they tried these ideas. You know, Scotty Bowman had a number of different, you know, reconfigurations of lines on the ice and different things were tried. I really do think, and it has to be the players have to be of a quality so it resembles an NHL game. NHLers are not going to participate in this, but maybe like ECHL guys, do an R&D league where you try out all the different ideas that people have had internally, externally, just to see if they work. Because once upon a time, you know, the American Hockey League used to be used as a sort of kind of like a research. It's not that anymore. And I understand why, because when you call a player up, you don't want them to have to relearn the game because they've been playing with a couple of different rules than there are in the NHL.
No tag up offsides.
All that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Like the AHL was sort of always used that way, and it's not anymore. I think that there would be value in it, but I mean, I'm so selfish. I just want hockey 12 months of the year. Do you think there's value in doing a yearly summer R&D league? Maybe you only do it for 3 weeks, but you try out a lot of the ideas that, you know, pass underneath general managers' noses at GM's meetings every year.
You know, we used to talk about this a little bit with your friend and ours, Pierre Maguire, where Pierre would say, we got such a great game. Why are we always tinkering? And Blake and I would say, well, that doesn't mean you can't improve. And yeah, some of those things that happened in the AHL as test and pilot projects have come to the NHL. Like, I think that's very worthwhile. I'm just not sure how big that gets commercially. Like, I just don't know how much fan interest is drawn in that. I've wondered about a top prospects game. Like, you know, get the best prospects for every team, put them together, and, you know, let's watch the best young.
Yeah, you've got Holinka going on right now as you speak. So it would.
But those are kids. Those are, you know, 17
draft eligibles.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. They're not yet NHL affiliated, I guess. Is what I'm saying.
No. You want the kids that have been drafted.
Exactly.
The cupboards. Okay.
Yeah. Play the cupboards.
If I can circle back to the idea behind it is, and again, like, listen, we all love the game. The game is wonderful. Yearbook answer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you don't keep changing, you become Latin, right? You become a lost language. You become a lost sport. Like, you keep, whether you like it or not, you have to keep evolving to meet the tastes of the modern sports fan. And right now, I mean, theoretically, everyone from Coley Campbell all the way down discuss it, but it's all conceptual. Let's see let's see what happens if, my idea of, no face-offs in the neutral zone, put that to a test for a 3-period game.
I've got a suggestion for you.
Okay.
Different one. Because this is the most underrated hockey league in the country. A bracketed Canadian university tournament.
I love it.
Because there's affiliation. The problem with what you're bringing up is fans aren't cheering for anything. You might get fan
affiliation. No,
what's that?
Fans aren't cheering for anything with affiliation.
No, I'm saying in Jeff's term.
Yeah, this is you're just doing this for capital H hockey. You're not doing this because you're for the Canucks.
But you might get fan affiliation. You might get fan affiliation with university. Hey, you might be able to combine these two ideas because the Canadian university player is unlikely to be blossoming into a pro player. Yeah. But it's really good hockey, and we don't watch enough of it.
No.
Yeah, listen, and U Sports is that one area too, and they've kind of changed a lot of the rules now, around pro players going back to play U Sports hockey. Yeah. You don't have to sit out a year anymore. So they're trying, as we all, wrestle with what the new development model is going to look like. U Sports is that one, that one area that's going to be dinged here big.
The other thing that I've always been curious with is a true Canada Cup. Provincial teams.
Oh, the provincial team thing, yeah.
Or Prairies, Maritimes, maybe regional teams, but provincial regional teams. Yeah. I would love if the day came where NHL players bought into that.
I can't see it. Sensitivity around injury, obviously, in the off season when they should be training. I don't think the NHL players want to do anything other than just use their summer to rehab, get stronger, practice, and get themselves ready for the next season. I can't, again, even with my R&D idea, NHLers aren't going to go for it, and the PA would balk at that too.
The problem with what we're talking about at all levels
is insurance.
No, it's culture change. These guys, for the most part, have routines in August where maybe the first part of the month is, still vacation, holiday, whatever, off season, and then as the month goes on, it's ramp up for training camps. So you would have to change the culture of what a hockey player anticipates in the off season to get them on the ice in any meaningful way.
There's something we don't really talk about a lot. Every now and then I'll bring it up with a retired player. But what happens in your mind when that routine is finally broken? Your first year of retirement, what is September like? What happens when you're so, to your point, you get on that hamster wheel when you're how old, and you stay on that, and that is your hamster wheel that goes all the way through your career until you're done. What do you do that first September where you're not going to a camp? What goes on? Lost, yeah.
Some of the ex-athletes lost when that first benchmark comes around for what they have known for the previous 10, 15, 20 years. The other thing I wonder about is, could you make the RFA deadline September 1st? Right now it's December 1st, right? If you don't sign by December 1st. Now, I'm not sure you could have the punishment as harsh as you can't play the season if you're not signed by September 1st. But if you set some sort of incentive or some sort of, then you would have player signings and perhaps trades as well in the month of August. And of course, that would engage fans. But we'll see.
Or how about this one? This has been proposed before. Who was I talking to that proposed this? I'm trying to remember who I was talking to. It'll come to me. I was talking to this on the show not too long ago. How about trade periods?
Like transfer windows in soccer?
Bingo. Like you have a certain amount of time, 2 or 3 times a year, where you're allowed to make trades. Right now, it can happen anytime. It can even happen post-trade deadline. They just can't play the playoffs. You can artificially create buzz at certain points of the season. So you have a couple of windows, and maybe, Maddie, to your point, maybe one of those windows is in August.
I like that for one reason. You can put it under the guise of the players deserve to have an off summer, not wondering if they're going to get traded or not. And so you say, we're going to concentrate it all in this 1 week, third week of August.
Mm-hmm. And then you get several trade deadlines, if you will, over the course of the year.
Yeah.
Damn it, Jeff. I think we've stumbled.
Is that an idea?
Merrick for commissioner.
No. This is not me. I'm trying to remember who it was. I was talking.
As far as I'm concerned, it's the Merrick.
Well, retroactively.
Yeah. No, do not call it the Merrick. I know who it was. You know who it was? You know who brought this up with me? Former agent, him and Ken Hughes created M5, sold to Cortex, Anton Thun. This was a former agent, Anton Thun, who has been through so many CBA battles for so long as well. This was Anton Thun's idea.
Because here's what I'll say. The transfer windows in soccer, particularly the one that precedes the English Premier League season, which we've just had, those are huge deals in Europe, and they're even getting bigger in the U.S. Like, I look at ESPN.com, and they have all this stuff on transfer window for mostly European football. And you go, holy cow, it's pretty big when ESPN is writing about this, promoting this, pumping this up.
Yeah.
With really no American teams, very few American players even involved. So that is quite interesting, Jeff. We'll
or you have an offer sheet window.
There you go. I like that as well.
Well, you want to get everyone paying attention?
That actually is a thing, though, already.
There is a date when offer sheets start. It's just, they're kind of like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. You hear a lot about them. Nobody really sees them all that often.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Elias Pettersson's revenge comment across the pond in Sweden last week got a lot of run here. Yeah, we all seem to love it, too. I just love the acknowledgement. And I love the, time to move forward. Clean sheet.
The one thing we all love about athletes, for the purposes of this show, the one thing we love about hockey players is if you give them an issue to rally around, usually it's the us versus them, the us versus the world. They're all out to get us. How many times have you heard an athlete when they win a championship, they said we couldn't do this? So who said that? But anyway, it's an issue to rally around. You give hockey players an issue. I don't care who you are. You make it to the NHL in a lot of ways. You're tough. You might not be physically tough, but mentally you're tough because you've heard everything about your game and you've been given a million reasons to quit. You haven't. So one of the things that I think we all love about hockey players is something like we just heard from Elias Pettersson, and that is that kind of defiance that you want. I mean, you don't want a meek sort of response or a meek comment from Elias Pettersson. Like right now is the time for anger and as to his point, like revenge and vengeance. And I'm coming back with this, newfound enthusiasm and training hard. And that's what you want, right? And if you're a Vancouver Canuck fan, if you're Vancouver Canuck management, that's exactly what you want to hear from Elias Pettersson. How many times did we sit here and all three of us, saying things like, if you can find your solutions internally, that's always better. And if all of a sudden you have a re-inspired and healthy Elias Pettersson, man, that takes care of a lot of problems for the Vancouver Canucks next season. I absolutely loved hearing that from Elias Pettersson. Again, I don't cheer for teams, I cheer for players. I really want this guy to have a great season next year.
I wouldn't have been surprised if he just hid all summer. So this is the opposite of that. He's coming out and he's done it a couple times now.
Yep.
And he's not a Kachuk brother. Right? He's not someone that goes out of their way to find the camera and to find a microphone. Quite the opposite. So to hear that from Elias Pettersson, I think that there's a lot of value in that. And if I'm a Vancouver Canucks fan, I'm pretty happy about that.
Any Vitaly Kravtsov intel?
I mean, to me, it's a smart gamble by the Vancouver Canucks. Man, that's a high AHL upside. That's a high AHL salary too, but understand why. I know it didn't work out the first time. I always wonder for players when that light goes off. There's the old saying in life, we're all born with two lives and our second life begins when we realize we only have one. And I always wonder about athletes too, when you realize, your second sports life begins when you realize you only have one and you may have squandered it. Like what happens, what changes within you. We've seen it happen before. I know it's rare, But to me, this is a very low risk gamble by the Vancouver Canucks. And if it hits, fantastic. To me, it's a really smart move.
You caught the discussion this week about Pavel Zacha and Casey Mittelstadt as potential solutions. Yeah. Yes. What did you know about that Boston situation and those two players?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think a lot of things are on the table for the Boston Bruins. I like Zacha. Mittelstadt to me has still been too inconsistent. Zacha helps you in a lot of different ways and can play a lot of minutes. I think that, and interestingly enough too, like when the trade was made, Bruins fans were saying, all we gave up was Erik Haula. Like that's it. A really nice bit of business there to bring Zacha in the first place. Listen, he's a left-hand shot for the purposes of the Vancouver Canucks. That gives you, 3 left-hand shots down the middle, not ideal, but nonetheless. I think that, if you expect your second line center to deliver between 40 to 50 points, that's Pavel Zacha. I think sometimes where you get picked in the draft biases people's opinion of you. Colby Cohen brings up the good point all the time. Like at a certain point, you are not your draft status. You are not your draft pick. You are just a player in the NHL. You're no longer a former first rounder Pavel Zacha. You're just Pavel Zacha. To me, if I'm the Vancouver Canucks and you gave me a choice, one or the other, I would take Pavel Zacha, even though Mittelstadt is younger. Interesting with Casey Mittelstadt, there was, can I tell a quick draft story? It's the summertime. Here we are, middle of August. This would have been the 2017. Let me check this. I think it's the 2017 draft, the Heischer draft. So the Buffalo Sabres, and this was told to me by someone who's no longer with the Sabres, that year, going into that first round, Buffalo was set that if he was available when Buffalo selected 8th, they were taking Martin Necas. That was going to be their guy. And they get to the draft, and Elias Anderson goes to the Rangers, and Buffalo's on the board. And everybody around the table is thinking, all right, there we go. We got the guy that we wanted. Martin Necas is going to be a Buffalo Sabre. And it would have been Jason Botterill and Randy Sexton stand up and say, we're taking Casey Mittelstadt. Now, the one thing they need to know about the Buffalo Sabres is there's a real bias to college players specifically. The following season, they drafted Rasmus Dahlin first overall. And if Dahlin, or if the Buffalo Sabres weren't selecting first overall, but selecting second, they would have taken Brady Tkachuk, because they have they're a really strong desire to get as many college players on that roster as possible. But I always remember that
Pagula is such a
hard at Penn State. Yeah. Big supporter of college hockey. And listen,
is that also because Buffalo doesn't spend the money on scouting in Europe like other teams?
I don't think that necessarily has a lot to, okay. I think in Terry Pagula's mind, like if the Buffalo Sabres are full of US college players, then I think he'd be real happy if he could make that work. But they've always under Pagula had a strong pro USA hockey slant, specifically with college players. But it just kind of caught everyone around the table like by surprise, because what are we here for? We have Casey Mittelstadt up here, but we were all agreed that Martin Necas was gonna be our guy. But nonetheless, whenever I hear Casey Mittelstadt, I always sort of remind myself of that story. Again, if I'm Vancouver, I'm going one way or the other. And this goes back to, maybe I'm biased because I watched him play with Sarnia a bunch on a really good line with was Travis Konechny, and I'm going to reach way back here for a name, Nikita Korestelev. I reach way back in the annals of time, maybe one of the best lines in junior hockey at that time. I've just always liked Zacha, and I think that he would. I think if I'm choosing between one or the other, I'm going with him.
All right. Easter egg time. What you got?
Okay. We're going to reverse it. My God. Okay.
Does Blake get to play too, or is this just for me?
No, this is for both.
I can phone a friend? Okay.
You can, yes. So this is for you and Blake. So I just mentioned Jason Botterill a second ago, and he is one of the answers to this question. Now, first of all, if you were going to throw a guess How many general managers in the NHL right now played college hockey?
I'm going to say a very low amount. I'm going to go like 3.
I think Kent Hughes played college hockey.
He had Middlebury, yes. Division 3.
Botterill would be
Michigan,
another.
Yeah. Hang on a second. Don't name them off because the answer is 13.
Wow,
Holy
really?
Cow.
So the answer is 13. Can you name 5? And I'll let you include Kent Hughes and Jason Botterill since you already mentioned them. So really just got to name 3 more. Kent Hughes played Middlebury, Division 3.
Right.
Jason Botterill.
So we're talking more American guys here, Blake. Did Bill Guerin play college hockey?
He played at Boston College, sir. Yes, he did.
That's correct. Did Bill Zito play college hockey?
That is a great one. That's one. See, he played college hockey at Yale. Good for you.
Wow.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Well done. Well done.
Mike Greer.
Mike Greer played at BU, the general manager of the San Jose Sharks. Want to hear the list? So this is what I do when I'm bored. This is what I'm bored.
I thought they'd be too old, like pre-college.
Well, I just thought American GMs because back in that era, you would have had a lot of American. So
yep. So here's your list. Okay, Chris Patrick, Capitals, played at Princeton. Craig Conroy, Calgary, played at Clarkson.
Right.
Mike Greer, to your point, BU. Jason Botterill, Michigan. Chris Drury, BU.
Yes.
Now Kelly McCrimmon, both University of Michigan and played for the Brandon Wheat Kings. So that goes back far enough when this wasn't an issue. You mentioned Bill Guerin, Boston College. Don Waddell, Northern Michigan. Tom Fitzgerald, Providence. Don Sweeney, Harvard. Kevin Adams, University of Miami, Ohio. Bill Zito, as you mentioned, Yale. Kent Hughes, Middlebury. Now, the one caveat here is if you believe that, Kevin Adams, maybe on the last days of his mini art, we wonder if Jarmo Kekalainen is the next general manager in waiting. And if he does indeed eventually take over the GM position in Buffalo, he attended Clarkson, so would still be 13. So if you're ever wondering how do general managers around the NHL feel about this new development model with CHLers going to college, I'm guessing there are 13 specifically that are going like, you know what? If you're Chris Drury, you're probably telling Malcolm Spence, enjoy Michigan. You'll be there a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jeff, this has been illuminating. And
you did great.
Well,
you were awesome. That was really good.
I didn't crumble before the pressure. The other thing I'll say, you say Latin a dead language, but carpe diem, ad nauseum, ad hoc, bona fide, de facto, quid pro quo, etc. All Latin phrases that endure.
But it's become a clip and cliche language now. How about that?
Well, hey, but it's still around. And in your case, on this hit, Veni, Vidi, Vici.
Wow.
Well done.
That's awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Till next week.
Enjoy the presser, Blake.
There you go.
Sick Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center, and a seminal day for Vancouver Whitecaps FC. We are delighted to be joined by co-owner Mr. Jeff Mallett. Welcome him back to Sick Harrison Price. Been a long time. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you guys?
Well, not as good as you are. Give me your thoughts, impressions of how this morning went.
The 10-year-old Jeff, who I like to start with, fan and playing in West Vancouver, is ecstatic. And to go old school with this touch of gray is, I'm hoping it's out. I hope it is Alan Ball-like. And
there you go.
Yeah, right. Adding to the mix of a good squad. But I'm ecstatic for everybody in the follows the Whitecaps and the city at large. We put a big spotlight on everything. And I think Thomas, the main point for everyone is Thomas Müller picked us, the Whitecaps, the city of Vancouver, to come and play here. And that's a testament to everybody who's in and around the football club.
And you bring up Alan Ball, and there's been other big names, particularly in the NASL days, global names, I would say.
Yeah.
But I mean, none of those guys, with all due respect to them, can touch what Thomas Müller is. Like this is a global brand. I was joking with Wayne Williams there of the Squamish Nation. He was just talking with Chris Martin the other day, he had a meet and greet. I was like, I think this guy's bigger than Chris Martin. Like, we're talking that kind of level of star. Like, it's a pretty pinch yourself kind of moment, isn't it?
It is a pinch yourself kind of moment. And, you know, everyone's asking, like, how did it come about? And, you know, FC Cincinnati and LAFC. And first of all, Thomas could have played pretty well anywhere. He could have gone to Saudi Arabian League if he wanted to make the Ronaldo big buck. I mean, he's so many options, 100 options. And it really came back to three things: football, 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 literally that. And you read about it and people have seen it, but Axel, obviously, Schuster had a great in with his experience and coming from the Bundesliga, everything huge, can't underestimate that. But also the closing was Jesper was our closer. And, you know, fantastic. And Jesper's job was don't sell, just tell them football. And those, I was in an hour and a half before today's press conference, an hour and a half with Thomas and Jesper and a couple other people. They're talking formations. They're talking dropping back. When the press comes on, Houston, there was a game reference. I won't take it, but it was reference of a huge match in Europe that Thomas played in this time last year. People can look it up. I don't want to say what he said. And then massive. And he said, I care about Houston, 6:00 BC Place. So
he is playing Sunday, Jeff. So we can confirm that he is playing on Sunday.
He's putting himself out there to make a selection. It comes down to he respects the coach. It's up to Jesper whether and our trainers, but he's doing all the right things to.
He wants to. It looks like.
Yeah. Okay, so Jeff, take me back to Genesis for you. Like, when is the first time you heard his name in a Whitecaps context, and what was your first initial reaction to it?
It was a while ago, meaning a month and a half ago, and everyone knew that he was going to let us. He was going to be on a free transfer. He was going to make himself available. Bayern made their final decision of not extending. So like Marek and some of the others got extended in the past. But anyways, so we knew he was available. And then Axel, because of his connections I just referenced, just put a feeler out there. And this is how shoulders back we are proud of the club, that we can make those calls. We're respected in the football community. The Champions Cup run was massively influential. No question about it. Also on Pedro Vite going to Pumas. So the continued better performance, higher level performance was a key factor. So month and a half ago, Axel put a feeler out. Greg Kerfoot and myself said, okay, great. Let's feel. And they anticipate we didn't expect that he would do it. But at the end of it, after talks and everything, Thomas Müller wanted to come and play for Vancouver. Once he said that, things moved extremely quickly. Then we had to do our MLS stuff in the background of FC Cincinnati, and you know, everyone thinks LA automatically gets players because it's LA. And Thomas says, "I like your chances of winning better." So this is a really good day.
So you think also the success in the MLS regular season helped draw him here as well, Jeff?
Absolutely, no question. If we were a Midland club still kind of where we were 3, 4, 5 years ago, nope. I honestly don't believe he's here. He followed us last year. He saw where we were. All his advisors put us on the map. It's pretty easy to do. Like, look where we are in the standings, look at the Champions Cup run. And he had Fonzie, chirping in his ear in a good way, like, hey, that's my club, right? That's where it came from. And so that combination led him to say, yeah, they can do it. And once he got on with Jesper, closed. Right, a little bit of money thing we had to work on, but that was actually relatively easy after the footballing part was taken care of.
You never landed a fish like this. Have you ever thrown the lure in the water close to a fish this size? Like, yeah.
Yep, we had one full scale quiet. See, you guys didn't know, but we really did, and I would say we were relatively close. That player decided to stay in Europe. You can insert the good guess along those lines. So we did go through the Quinn Thompson, our whole staff in the back room. We have not just the beautiful slides of Bobby Lenarduzzi in 1979 and all that sort of stuff. We have really good, thoughtful analytics, et cetera. So we had a really legitimate deep run. It was a great test case.
Good education. Yeah.
Great education. Yeah. And Greg and I, Kerfoot and I, getting comfortable with the numbers. Like, okay, what is it really going to take? How do we manage it on today's payroll? How do we do it in the next year? So.
And it begets the next one too. And the next one won't be Thomas Müller size, I wouldn't guess. But I would, and you guys are in the market for a couple of more players here before the window closes. I would guess that this also just helps to chum the water for the next one, to stay with my fishing references here.
Yeah, no question. I mean, we need center backs, and with Sam Atakupi going down, and Ranko, of course. So no question, the spotlight works on all fronts: economically, fan base, TV, Apple. The season pass people at Apple are like, what? And one of the senior executives there is the world's biggest Bayern Munich fan. So he's like, Thomas, Vancouver? And I'm like, yes. So,
first of all, who was that guy you threw the lure out for? Spill tea.
You probably, someone's already sent it in to you guys already. Okay. It's too easy, right. But I don't.
We'll check the chat. We'll check the chat.
I'm sure the answer's there.
Because you and Greg had always been upfront with us on the media side, Jeff, that you weren't going to go fishing in this pond, if I can continue his reference, unless the guy wanted to be here. He could have a positive effect on the proceedings on the pitch and at the gate. So my question is about the third part of this. What do you think Thomas Müller represents in terms of gate attendance, the economics side?
Yeah, I like his answer. And Blake, I heard it in the conference today. He's like, I don't know. Let's see how it works on the field and off the field. But I can tell you, the initial reaction by our fans have been fantastic. It's we'll sell out the lower bowl, packed in there. You guys know our attendance; it's published out there. So we're 19, 20-ish, right? And we will be 26 plus-ish, And that's a Houston game. Nothing against Houston, but on a Sunday night. So there's an immediate. It's very tactical, but there's an immediate impact. I can tell you from the broadcasting side, Blake, on the season's pass and an MLS season pass. All of a sudden they're looking at our schedule again, and maybe there's a Sunday night, like we're on everybody's radar. So we factored that in, but that wasn't the decisive factor. We believe that winning, entertaining, quality football, 3 trophies still available the last time when I woke up this morning for us to go chase. And that's what I think will do as Axel says, a sustainable long-term. And we're 6 years in from reinventing ourselves or improving ourselves or taking that thing and bringing Axel in, and we are middle of the road. So hopefully this will be just another big step forward. But economically, I do expect it's our number one day in merch, right? You've heard that, right? It's just we've never had that to this level ever. So
the anecdotal evidence is overwhelming. People saying, "Oh, I'm going to buy a jersey for the first time." It's the pinch me sort of stuff.
The number of friends I've had reach out saying, like, are you going to the match? And what's this? I can't believe this. I'm going to a Whitecaps match. When's he going to play has been incredible, Jeff. Like over the last couple of weeks, my phone is just buzzing with people who, some of whom are European football fans, right? Or like, oh, okay, MLS, who are all in and want to see this guy at BC Place.
So sorry to cut you off, Blake, but I still getting goosebumps because it made me think of it. Made me a Champions Cup, Inter Miami. Messi here in our building, packed. This time he played, packed. Yep. And then the thing that really caught my attention was we saw some pink kits, and we saw the Barca. Anyways, we saw his past, but I heard a lot of boos on the ball when he got on the ball. When it started getting to the 68th, 70th minute, 72nd minute, people were like, "Let's win!" So it kind of got it in that sort of sphere. And I feel Thomas bringing Messi's Messi, so I'm not comparing here, but that level of Matt, same thing. My phone, same thing. Biggest I've ever seen it in 18 years of doing this.
1920 has been you sort of, as you say, where you percolate at, but I think that proved that there's at least 27. Like selling out the lower bowl now for the duration of this year and next year, I think is a reasonable expectation here, given the excitement that we've seen. Let me ask you this, and we're going to get into ownership a little bit here, but Are you a little more excited to be the Whitecaps owner right now than you were a few weeks back?
What, you and Greg still want to sell this thing? What's up?
First of all, to really put a real clear vision on it. We're around too. We're not, myself probably Steve Nash will probably stay in. Like, we're offering our service again. We just know to go to MLS 3.0, right? Using Commissioner Garber speak for a second, which is spot on, which is really true. Careful what you ask for, careful what you build, because the Joneses it keeps getting bigger. So we know without question, medium to long term. Hey, look, when I partnered up with Greg Kerfoot and Nash and Steve Lusso in 2008, I have an email that says, hey, we're close to getting our stadium. In 2008. Okay. So we remain super focused on that. But look, I don't care if it sounds cliche, because I'm a fan since I was in West Vancouver playing soccer. You've heard the story a million times. It's true. This is my club, right? Greg's in Vancouver. There's no bigger Vancouver cheerleader than Greg Kerfoot, period, in soccer. So I have been this excited before. It's now just a little bit more fun because more people are excited, right? And at the end of the day, I hope this translates into a new stadium opportunity, and to really be able to set ourselves up for MLS 3.0. We're currently doing well under the old regime. We need to step up.
Is it fair to say then that there's not a lot? I mean, I've sold houses before, sort of my biggest investment, and I know that you want to capitalize on momentum. So if there's a nibble, if there's somebody that's knocking on the door, I'm sure you still have to go through the hoops there and see it to fruition. But is it safe to say that if something were to fall through with whoever might be interested right now, like, is there urgency in the sale, or does this sort of re-inject life into Greg? If you and Steve are interested in staying on and all that, that's great. But Greg's got the controlling. Is he, is it urgent for him, or does this put some life on it?
I think, well, I'm not speaking for Greg, but he doesn't speak for himself, but I'll speak for him a little bit.
That's your job.
Yeah, I know it is. I get my $1. I don't even get my $1. I want a Thomas Müller jersey.
You should bill him.
Greg, the same thing goes for Greg behind the scenes. Never been more engaged than ever. He's working with the premier. He's working with the mayor. All of that, folks, to really go. He's disproportionately focused on the stadium. He has a real estate background. He has real estate holdings here. Continues to have. He's not going anywhere, and so he has. Yes, Blake, he has urgency. He wants this to happen. But we've had urgency since 2008. But if we can't get it over the hump this time, I don't know what it is, right? So
let me ask this, Jeff, because I was talking to a Politico a couple of weeks ago who's quite familiar with governance in this city and in this province, who said, it's going to be a very difficult sell to direct any public funds to stadium construction. And you can tell me whether that is sought by you and Greg and the ownership group. But he thought, and we've seen this modeled in the CFL and in the NHL, that if there is a new stadium at the PNE, it's going to have to be some sort of real estate or development play. Do you see it that way?
Would say that, I come from the San Francisco Giants, and we own and control our own stadium. We own and control our 27-acre adjacent plan. That is the economic engine that allows a Major League Baseball team to continue to go at the highest level. The base operations of an MLB team, you can't make ends meet without having the real estate component in there, right? So there's no different in any other major sport, including Major League Soccer. We've got to that level. So as it pertains to a stadium and people, everybody's been super cooperative. I don't honestly, if this was a time to sort of say, hey, come on, everybody is trying. I really, truly believe that, from the city, from the province, et cetera, council people, et cetera. So there is a genuine interest for everybody. The challenge is getting a piece of paper signed. Right? It's like business, any type of business. So our job is to do it. We know we'd have to finance it. So we're not holding out or asking for anything, right? It's the same proposition as 2008. We will fund it. We will get it going. And our job is, we believe what the vision we hear about the P&E, let's just talk about it, the race course, what people have read, listened to on this stuff, it's real. And we believe the Vancouver Whitecaps, done right in a stadium out there with some economics tied to it, Matt, to your point, yes, we see retail, the real estate, yes, is the answer on that one. We think we can be a foundation to that vision of what people are talking about for the next 20, 25 years. And so we want to take that asset and put it down there for the next gen.
Right. So playing this out even further, Jeff, no existing public revenues, no new taxes, but a land gift, the ability to build the stadium on the PNE site. Is that how you see it going?
I didn't even want to use the gift word as such, but for us to be the primary tenant and primary developer of, at minimum, 12 acres of a football specific, soccer specific stadium that the city can be proud of, the city deserves, the city has earned, that start with that. And if that was a signable piece of paper that was investable, then we're good. And once again, I'm not picking on anyone. People are going towards that. Everybody's trying to get towards that, but we need to move faster.
That's great detail, Jeff.
How helpful are other recent deals? I was just reading about the new Aloha Stadium in Honolulu. Like, these are non-SoFi Stadium level stuff. It's 22,000 seats there. Detroit, for a USL team, he's building a 15,000 seat stadium now, and it's gorgeous as well. Are these sort of helpful templates for you guys to bring to the relevant parties?
No question. MLS Next Pro, even right in there. There's been some teams in our own Division II league that are building beautiful little stadiums, and yes, there's no question the prices are leaving steel prices and tariffs. I'm not touching that on this call today, but the ability to build more efficiently and effectively to build a stadium has come a long way in this last decade. So that's one of the super positives. We're just down in Austin, as you know. That's where we had our All-Star game and board meeting for Major League Soccer. We've been there before. We got a full tour, how they cost it out. So we have so many great examples out there of current, and then what they're doing in New York City. I mean, what is going to be built out by Citi Field, by NYFC, FC, unbelievable. And, and what Chicago and what Joe is building out in Chicago, $900 million showcase. So we have we have enough examples. We need to build our own.
I want to get back to you. We're around comment. So like, if you get the green light on this stadium project, Jeff, like, would you and Greg want to stay on as majority owners? At that point, are you just looking for an investor or a minority partner, or when you say we're around, you want to be with the you're willing to be minority partners to the next person?
Yeah. We believe it's the right time, especially for our two leads, as you call out, Greg Kerfoot and Steve Lusso. They have different plans, different time of thing. They don't need to be the big guys anymore. Right. So ideally, we would have someone join us, right, and come in. We would take, if they want us, our good looks and charm. Maybe they'll pick Nash because he's so cool and on that stuff. But we're all available. We'll all
You're better looking and more charming than Steve Nash. I will stand here and give you that.
Yeah, there we go. So we will stay on the cap table. We will be. We will take our knowledge base and transfer it. We'll take our goodwill that we have, all of those things to make it easier. If someone wants to come in and take everything and just give us a Thomas Müller jersey and a ticket to Sunday's game, we would move out of the way as well too. But but yeah, this is not a hopefully someone comes in and we run off. We said that from day one, even though because we did a different approach. We announced it. We went. In December, It's like, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's kind of," because we believe in what we're building. So,
well, this is good clarity. This fleshes it out a lot more here, I think, for the Whitecaps fan, because I think they do trust you guys. I think they do believe that you want to keep it here. But this is a level of interest I think that they want to hear from you guys. So that's
well, and also they're worried in terms of if there isn't a soccer specific stadium that the team might move.
Yeah, well. That's an obvious worry. And do you understand that worry, Jeff?
Absolutely. Yeah. I again, We're not interested in that. Major League Soccer is not interested in that. But the way you framed it, I won't repeat because you framed it perfectly. I could see it being a worry, because at the end of it, we're underwriting this project, and we've been underwriting it for 18 years, and at the national level as well, outside of our Caps footprint. Plus, we did the Rise, which is we're adding to it, plus an MLS Next Pro, plus a League One BC Women, plus a League One thing, plus an MLS Next, plus Academy, and so we can't keep underwriting this forever without a sense of a reasonable way of getting, at least to net zero.
All right. Last question here. Where are you watching the game Sunday? Who are you watching it with? And what do you think your thoughts and emotions will be when Müller takes the pitch in that Caps jersey?
I love that thing. First of all, I got goosebumps again. I'll tell you where I'll not be, nothing against it, but I will not be up in our so-called owner's box. By the way, we give ourselves the worst suite in the stadium at BC Place, so it's unbelievable. I will be sitting with my daughter, a great footy player in her day, runs her own Pilates studio here now in the city. Her husband, just kind of people, and just about 10 rows up and 100% focused, but I want to be close enough to it. I like to feel the fans, right? I truly do. I do this at the Giants. I think Blake knows this, but it's like, I love that. So I won't tell you my section, but I'll be down with my daughter, blinders on, and I will be 10-year-old Jeff.
Amazing stuff. Quite a day for Vancouver Whitecaps FC, and more of them to come, including Sunday at BC Place when Müller makes his debut against Houston. Jeff, thanks for the time. Great catching up.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sick Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center. Cheer louder when you're rested. Book your staycation here at the Wall, just minutes from the stadium and arena. Unlock the Sick Harrison Price rate by calling 604-331-1000. Some blackout date supply based on availability. Well, the Mariners' 8-game winning streak came to a close last night in Baltimore. Canadian Matt Brash gives up the winning hit. Jays lose 4-1 of the Cubs. Kevin Gausman, terrific over 7 innings, but Chicago pitching was better. Nice story and sense of occasion by the Cubs today. They call up their top prospect, outfielder Owen Cassie. He's from Burlington, Ontario, so to make his major league debut in his hometown there of Toronto, he's one of the top power hitters in the minors and the highest-ranked Canadian prospect in all of baseball. Going down to AAA, we mentioned this is a really big week for the AAA Buffalo Bisons, the Jays farm team. Alek Manoah started last night. Trey Savage starting tonight. Shane Bieber, the new acquisition, tomorrow. Manoah lasted just 1 and
Don't get
2/3 innings. Yeah, the pitch count got pretty high pretty quickly. He walked 3 guys. He peaked at 92 miles an hour.
1 strikeout.
I saw Keegan Matheson, who covers the Blue Jays, say Manoah may just be a 2026 situation. They're sort of running out of runway here for him to get back and make a major league contribution this season. Canadians win 6-5 in Spokane thanks to a quality start, the first ever quality start from Gage Stanifer, a top prospect, and a triple play.
And by all accounts, a gorgeous one, too.
I saw it. The old 1-6-3-2 triple play. Ground ball to the pitcher, turn and throw to the shortstop, covering second, over to first for your garden variety double play, and then first to home to catch the runner trying to score from third. Well done, C's. Well done.
So a line out to the pitcher?
The infield coach is absolutely beaming after that. No, ground ball to pitcher.
Yeah. At
turns.
How's he out? How's the first out?
Ground ball to the pitcher.
Yeah.
He turns and fires to Arjun Nimala, covering second base.
Yeah.
There's your first out.
First out.
Throw it over to first base.
Oh, okay.
So
your standard double play.
play.
Yeah.
And then runners trying to score from third, first base to catcher.
Okay.
And you get him too. C's back at home Tuesday at the Nat versus Tri-City. Wednesday's RBC Week here Wednesday in support of Science World. Friday nooner, postgame fireworks Saturday. Just 2 homestands left for the C's. Get your tickets, 604-872-5232 or CanadiansBaseball.com. Football, where North Vancouver's Theo Benedette is becoming a bigger story at Chicago Bears camp. Adam Johns of CHGO Sports reporting the former UBC Thunderbird is, quote, in the mix for the Bears left tackle job. He started at right tackle in the preseason opener and performed superbly. Chicago has an incumbent starter at left tackle, Braxton Jones, who has battled some injuries. There was talk that the new head coach there, Ben Johnson, coming over from the Detroit Lions, where they have that superior offensive line, might address the offensive tackle position in the first round. Instead, they waited to the second round. So Benedette is in the mix there with a couple of guys to potentially win a starting job on the Bears O-line. I mentioned yesterday that Johns messaged me and said there's no question he's going to make the team. He followed up today and said he might even be a bigger story than he initially thought. BC Lions home to face the Montreal Alouettes Saturday, 4 p.m. at BC Place. We mentioned the new theme night this season for the Lions with this game. They're celebrating the car culture in British Columbia. And there you go, a new pregame or backyard party location, the Plaza of Nations. They're going to have tons of supercars out there on Saturday pregame. On the field, fullback Jacob Bond hasn't practiced this week. Center Michael Couture and DB Jalen Edwards-Cooper remain limited. Lions trying to get back to 500, 5-5, and win for the first time at home since the opener June 7th versus the Elks. They have lost 3 straight at BC Place. Results of the Bogey Juice poll question from Wednesday. We asked you, should the Canucks be interested in trading for Bruins centers Pavel Zacha or Casey Mittelstadt? What did the people say?
People said yes.
They said no.
Really?
53%.
Really? I was going to say
many
65
were saying,
yes.
Many were in the comments saying that Pavel Zacha's offensive totals are floated by David Pastrnak.
Right.
PBAT says they're not a significant upgrade to what's already on the roster, so why bother?
I
think Zacha is absolutely an upgrade, like even if his point totals are floated somewhat by Pastrnak.
I think they are, but it's incremental. So the question then is still, do you do it? And that's when price comes into it.
Travis is sure, but not for a high price. In terms of errors and omissions, I have nothing listed, Blake. I have not been able to chase down your question about the latest the Jays and the Mariners have been in first place together. In a season,
have an E's and O's for us. Oh yes, we and I'll take collective royal we responsibility.
Does that mean it was your mistake and you're trying to rope me into it?
No, it was not my mistake. But I will
of course,
say we.
The Mariners are not in first place right now. They're still chasing Houston.
No, this is a different.
Okay.
We typed out Müller M-U-E rather than Müller, umlauted U on one of our tweets yesterday. So we'll take that one as a team.
Good man.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time and connecting with the show. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Follow on social. That's X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky. Live on many of those platforms, noon Pacific time. Should say, your custom, we've been taking the last few Fridays off. Next week, we go down to 2 shows, so we'll be Monday, Thursday next week. As always, we're here. Big news breaks, emergency pod, but Monday, Thursday next week. And, of course, please do support the community sponsors you hear us talking about.